Number two was focus. All right, now I talk about focus a lot, so I'm gonna try and say this in a different way than I normally do. It's really top-down focus and prioritization, which is just another word for strategy, but just how much more important strategy is for businesses, because what happens is when they pursue too many paths, they look up a year later and they haven't grown much at all. And if you're a small business, like you absolutely can double, triple, quadruple, 5x every year for a few years before sometimes that'll slow down. Now, if you have a compounding mechanism, it could even keep going and getting faster. At the very least, like growing at 10% a year, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're at $1 million a year, $5 million a year, even $10 million a year, like you should be able to grow a lot faster than that. And typically it's because you lack people and because you lack focus. And when I say people, it means you lack good enough people. The people you have, you might have a high head count, but a low talent count. And focus, you might have lots of priorities, but they're the wrong ones. And so fundamentally, if you can't focus on one thing, one objective that is most important, that makes the rest of your objectives less important, then you are not doing your job as the CEO to tell the team how they should be allocating their attention. And here's the important part, is deleting everything that is not this. And so a lot of people are like, these are our objectives, also keep doing everything else. It's like, you can't do that. You can't just add more, because now you've even further diluted what's important. Now, for sure, people need to continue to transact. Sales guys still need to sell, customer service still needs to service. But the discretionary effort that exists in the top talent, the leaders of the company who aren't as involved in the day-to-day and are basically all times they have between aligning teams, should be dedicated to a single priority that, if accomplished, would be an order of magnitude improvement in the business. And so this level of focus is what I continue to drill with the founders and the CEOs of the portfolio companies, and it has yielded outsized returns. And there's a great razor for this, which is when I want to fix a system or when I go into a department, the first thing I do is eliminate as much as humanly possible. And here's the thing, is people are afraid of eliminating meetings, eliminating communication lines, eliminating processes. But if you eliminate just about everything, you'll find out that the vast majority of that stuff was complete waste and complete distraction. And here's the cool thing, you can always add it back. So there's this fear of loss. People literally have fear of loss around processes and meetings, which is ridiculous, but that's just how we're wired psychologically, which is why companies in general, as they grow, create bloat. There's too many people doing too many things that don't matter or not enough stuff to begin with. And all of them together don't know how what they do makes the company money. And so one of the easiest tasks that you can do is zoom all the way out and think, what is the output of this department? What is the output of finance? Have you ever thought about, like, what is the output of finance? The output of finance is information to make decisions. That's it. And so if you're getting too much information, or you're getting the wrong information, or the information that you're getting doesn't change your decisions, then the function of finance is inadequate. You're not getting enough of what you need of output from that department. If the function of IT is to gather, store, display, and analyze information, then are you getting the correct data? Are you able to analyze it? Are you able to display it and see in real time and be able to make decisions off it? Also, another information output department. Kind of interesting, right? So many of these departments really exist just to have information to make decisions. And so I bring this up because you have to delete until you have the fewest things that matter. It's like you want to cut to the bone. You don't want to cut to fat or cut muscle. You want to go all the way to the bone and then add the few things that matter most back in. And I think that I'm doing this better now because honestly, I think I'm just more ruthless, and I think I care less about judgments of other people. I think it's just like I'm more confident what I'm doing now. And so it's like, I think I conceptually felt the same way. I just was like, this feels crazy, even though it makes sense to me. And so fundamentally, first principles thinking operates from this perspective of like, okay, physics are laws that we have to obey. What else do we have to obey? The law of the land, so we've got government laws that we have to obey. Besides that, tell me a physical law or government law that prevents us from doing this thing in 1/10 the time. Tell me the law. If not, then there is a way. And here's the thing, is that there will simply be resources that are required. And so one of the things that I'm trying to get my team to understand is, if I ask to do something and they say we can't do it, that's saying it's impossible and it's ridiculous, and of course they're wrong. So it's a terrible position to take. It's also very frustrating. Instead, tell me what it would take. Tell me the resources that would be required that we'd have to take from something else. But a lot of times we get a soft no immediately out the gate rather than a what it would take. And this has been one of the biggest shifts that I think has empowered me, is asking better questions. And so one of the most frequently asked questions that my question of the year is, what would it take?